Hello beautiful people, and welcome to the Arbitrary Sales Suggestions Volume 1. I'll be your host through the Steam Summer Sales 2018, and there's a whole bunch of games coming your way right now. Public service announcements. If you didn't do it yet, you have until next Monday to grab a copy of Quake Champions. The Witcher 1 and 2 are again on sale for a couple bucks, a total steal. And speaking of RPG, stay the hell away from Skyrim Special Edition. Microtransactions, close to no mod support, thanks but no thanks. Why haven't you played this already? The Deus Ex Collection. Deus Ex, despite its many years, has aged incredibly well. I was surprised myself when I played it a few years ago for the first time. It's an incredible RPG, and its sequels, available for a few bucks in this bundle, are also pretty good. Brütal Legend. As far as strategy game goes, this one is a bit unconventional, but I instantly fell in love with it from the first time I played. It's one of the only games that I played multiple times over and over again. I think at this point I might have played it like 4 times. It has a great soundtrack, bonus points for having Jack Black as the main protagonist, a metal-inspired world. It is just that good. Killer Instinct. If you didn't spend a lot of time in arcades playing fighter games, you might have never listened of Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct is probably the fastest fighting game in the world. And this PC version is the game I was waiting for since Killer Instinct Gold on Nintendo 64. Saints Row the Third. The entire Saints Row series could be probably best described as Grand Theft Auto if it didn't take itself way too seriously. Saints Row the Third is in my opinion the best in the entire series so far, and the best entry point if you're interested in looking into the series. Tropico 4. Well, drive me into a favela and call me El Presidente. Tropico is basically SimCity in a banana republic, where you play as El Presidente to develop its city. Tropico 4 is by far the greatest, and especially with the Modern Times DLC, it's very great and my personal favorite of the Tropico series. The classics. Unreal Tournament. I'm contractually bound to bring this classic game as the first, since I've been playing it since 1999. It's one of the best fast-paced FPS ever made, and it's still played today. And I mean seriously, after 19 years you can still pick up the game, put it up online and still find servers and players to this very date. It is that good. The Legacy of Kain. The entire Legacy of Kain lies deep in my heart. It has a great storyline and vampires. Do I need to say more? Remember to play the game in this very order: Soul River, Soul River 2, Blood Omen 2 and Defiance. If you're interested, you may also try to start Blood Omen. I own an original copy of Blood Omen for PC and I never managed to start it. But today I discovered the fact that somewhere there is a PlayStation copy of it. I might still go back and try it. The Oddbox. I don't even know where to start with this. Oddworld is one of my favorite puzzle games ever. I've been religiously playing the games since Abe's Odyssey back in 1997. And the Oddbox packs up in a little price all these games except Soulstorm. Is it even out? I have to check that. Uplink. Classic movie-like hacking game. There is also a recent mod that overhauls the whole game and UI. If you're into this sort of things, you're looking at several hours of fun. Oh, and it also has multiple endings. The Bard's Tale! The Bard's Tale is the third game in the Bard series. You can also find the first 2 games inside the Steam version, accessible from a menu in-game. You play as a bard with magical abilities, and this game is an extremely good sense of humor. Totally recommended. Evil Genius. Do you want to be an evil lord? With its own network of spies, assassins, undercover agents, with a secret lair, maybe in a volcano? Then Evil Genius is for you. Grim Fandango Remastered. generally regarded as one of the best point-and-click adventure. The remastered edition allows even new machines to run this classic piece. Command & Conquer Pack. Command & Conquer is one of the staples in the real-time strategy genre, together with StarCraft. Its campaigns are a mix of full-action videos and incredible gameplay. Pick the pack instead of the single games, because overall the price of the bundle is lower. Just take in consideration that inside the bundle you will also find Command & Conquer 4, which is not particularly great. On the off-road. Dirt 3 Complete Edition. I'm starting to sound repetitive, but Dirt 3 is one of the best rally racing games ever made. And the Complete Edition has the complete removal of the Game for Windows Live that was a plague in the previous release. Redout Enhanced Edition. If you ever played Wipeout on a PlayStation, this is it, but on PC. You're playing an ultra-fast vehicle around a tight circuit and with a fierce competition. The good old times. Euro Truck Simulator 2 Essentials. It's not exactly my cup of tea, but it's a great truck driving simulation game with an overwhelming positive reception. If you want to know what it feels like to drive a truck across Europe, this is the game for you. That artstyle though. Dropsy. Dropsy is a point-and-click adventure that immediately caught my attention with its graphics. The entire game is played without a single line of text, and uses player conveyance in its place. Sometimes it could convey more than it does, but it's still a good game. The Sexy Brutale. Your job is trying to stop a set of assassinations that are happening inside the Sexy Brutale casino. Very soon in the game you earn the ability to rewind time and start all over again. And as amazing as it is, being able to replay things over and over again until you get them right, you always have this constant feeling of racing against time, of which you have unlimited amounts. It's simply amazing. Pony Island. You're stuck inside an arcane machine programmed by Satan, who's trying to get your soul as a continue token. Do I need to add more? Minit. Save the word 60 seconds at a time. If you're interested in this game, you can find a previous review of Minit on my channel that goes way more in depth. Cat Quest. What if I wanted to adventure throughout the world but as a cat? Meow. All jokes aside, Cat Quest is a very relaxing and fun game. Broforce. 90s TV action heroes turned into pixelated agents of death and destruction. Through its several characters available, it manages to keep itself fresh throughout the entire game. Reigns, King and Queen Bundle. Reigns and its sequel, Reigns Her Majesty, are two quite unique games. It's basically a roguelite choose-your-adventure game where you choose your fates and options with cards that are coming up in your deck. It's not very long, but it's well crafted and really fun. Hotline Miami. High-octane, pixelated, shooty, stabby. Murder, rinse, repeat. Grandfather, tell me a story. Final Fantasy. I mean, at this point, everybody and his dog must have played or at least heard of Final Fantasy. For the longest time they were a prerogative of PlayStation, but since Square Enix started pushing out the PC releases, I basically rebought them all. If you want to start with the game, my favorites out of the entire series are probably 6, 8, 9 and 10, with 8 having a place in my heart forever, and 9 possibly being one of the best ever made. And yes, I did omit Final Fantasy VII. Come at me, bro! Valhalla. Cyberpunk Bartender Action. This one's a bit of an oddball. It's basically a visual novel, but with bartending mechanics built in. Nice story, very well written, great art style, recommended. Deponia, The Complete Journey, which is actually not complete. The Complete Edition includes the original trilogy of the games, a humor click-and-point adventure game. For full disclosure, I'll have to admit, I never managed to finish the game yet. Dishonored, Definitive Edition. Dishonored is a first-person role-playing game with a great narrative. Will you have your revenge at the expense of innocent people? Or will you get through your life peacefully? The choice is yours. Fallout New Vegas Ultimate. Fallout New Vegas is one of the best in the Fallout series. If you never played it, it's a good time to pick it up at a good price. A word of warning, although Fallout 3 is probably my favorite in the series, you shouldn't pick it up from Steam. It is plagued by games for Windows Live. If you're interested in the Fallout series and you like or already played Fallout New Vegas and you wanted to try Fallout 3, I'd suggest you go and buy it on GOG.com instead. The Stanley Parable. Hardly a story per se. It's more of a walking simulator with player agency. It does have a sort of a story though, surreal as it may be. Max, the Curse of Brotherhood. In this action platformer game, the protagonist tries to save his little brother, while utilizing some powers that control part of the environment. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons. You play and control two brothers as they go through an epic journey. This game is wonderful and deserves to be played by everyone. Just a note of warning, if you play this game with a controller you will have a way better time. Bastion. An incredible and very sad story that will leave you with a lack of words. By far my favorite title of Supergiant games. Bioshock, the Collection. If you never played the Bioshock series before, this is the perfect moment to jump in. For a little price you can grab the remastered edition of Bioshock 1 and 2 and Bioshock Infinite along with all their DLCs. It's a heavy story-driven first-person shooter, and a great series if you ask me. I'm only here to eat popcorn and kill bitches, and I'm freshly out of popcorns. Doom. 2016's take at Doom was just what we were waiting for. A story that doesn't get in the way of stomping demons all around, great verticality and great gunplay. I was immediately sold. Dynasty Warriors 8 Xtreme Legends Complete Edition. If you like hacking and slashing through hundreds of enemies, then this game should be right up your alley. I discovered this series quite late, with this version in fact. And as far as I could tell, this game is also the best in the series so far, even better than its successors. This series also had several spin-offs, like Hyrule Warriors or Dragon Quest Heroes 1 and 2. Wolfenstein, the 2-pack. This pack contains the New Order and its expandalon, the Old Blood. If you never heard of Wolfenstein as a series, where have you been living? Anyway, it's a classic series, with heavy FPS mechanics, a lot of crazy weapons and shooting Nazis. So basically Doom, but with Nazis instead of demons. You will also find the new Colossus on Steam. Just keep in mind that it's generally not considered as good as the New Order. Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City, Game of the Year editions. Arkham Asylum is a fantastic action game that basically created or refined its combat mechanics so far that a lot of games using similar mechanics are since known as featuring Arkham-style combat. You play as Batman, kicking asses with martial arts and gadgets, and Arkham City takes what's good from Arkham Asylum and brings it even beyond. If you like action games, you should really give them a try. Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor. Just as mentioned a little ago, Arkham-style combat in a Tolkien-esque world with a great representation of orcs and the Nemesis system. I could speak for hours about the Nemesis system, but it's beyond the scope of this video and you can also find a lot of information on the subject anyway. Tomb Raider, Game of the Year edition. A reimagining of the Tomb Raider series as an action-adventure game that is also a prequel to all the previous Tomb Raiders. A very solid action-adventure game. Sleeping Dogs, Definitive Edition. A third-person open-world game set in Hong Kong. You play as an undercover cop trying to rise among the triads. Some may say it's a very well-made Asian-style GTA. Painkiller, Black Edition. One of the most amazing first-person shooters ever made. High-quality maps, 14 different weapons, each with its own primary and secondary shooting mode. It's just bloody good. Last but not least, Bloodlust. Space Cam. One of the most criminally underloved games. It's an amazing game. If you can stop your thoughts of being scared by math and science, even made up ones, you will find this game to be extremely addictive. The only problem with it is that the difficulty rating is not well balanced across the entire game. You can sometimes seem stuck on a section while blazing through the others that follow it. Two Tribes Complete Pack. I love Two Tribes as game developers, and they develop some of my favorite puzzle games like Rush. This pack, for a little price, includes Rush, Tokitori, Tokitori 2, Edge, and Rive. If you're even partially interested in puzzle games, I highly suggest you check this pack out. War for the Overworld, Ultimate Edition. This game is the Dungeon Keeper successor we were all waiting for. It perfectly understands the basics that made Dungeon Keeper a great game, and delivers in spades. Build your own dungeon lair, gather the demons, and conquer the overworld. Watch Dogs 2. This game comes as a surprise, especially to me. After being burnt by the first Watch Dogs, I didn't even want to buy this one. I thought it would really suck. But I'm glad to admit I was wrong. This game does everything that the previous game did wrong. A lot of hacking reference, a lot of hacking culture, a lot of gadgets. Even most of the minigames are fun, limited in quantity and just great. If you like the idea of Watch Dogs but didn't like the execution, buy Watch Dogs 2. It's really good. Trademark. Defense Grid Containment Bundle. There is not much to say. Defense Grid is one of the best tower defense game ever made. Period. This bundle packs up Defense Grid Awakening and many expansions in one small price. Highly suggested, even if you never played tower defense games and want to give it a try. Portal Bundle. If you're on Steam, I don't even think I have to introduce you to one of Valve's best franchises ever. I'm just leaving a note here. If you don't have these games, buy them right now. At this price, it's almost just a stealing. Plant vs. Zombies Game of the Year Edition. I'm even afraid to ask, did you really never play Plants vs. Zombies? I mean, seriously? Feel free to grab this edition then. Go on. I'll wait. Assault Android Cactus. This game is an amazing arcade twin-stick shooter. You can control different androids with different abilities and can even be played cooperative locally. It has amazing design, a great soundtrack, and is real fun to play. FTL, Faster Than Light. A space roguelike. You are chased by death and you must get your way through an hostile federation. Pick up spaceship parts and crew members as you go, and try to reach the far end of the galaxy. Alive if possible. Rogue Legacy. Rogue Legacy is a fine cartoony roguelite game. You explore a procedurally generated castle, and each time you die, your child becomes your successor and adventures the castle. Until victory or death. XCOM Enemy Unknown Complete Pack. I'm a bit on the fence on this one. On one hand, the game is a pretty good successor to the XCOM franchise and despite some flaws, a pretty good turn-based tactics game. On the other hand, 2K and Firaxis reveled for years in anti-consumer tactics, and still do to this very day, which is one of the reasons I refuse to buy XCOM 2. All in all though, I guess that the complete pack for this price is a good enough reason to buy it. So this is it, folks. I hope you find some good use for this way too long for its own good video. My name's been Varstahl, and I'll see you next time.